Here, it's still preparing. It'll pop up for me and then I'll have to turn our volume down. Got it.
Okay.
Wait, hold on, and make sure we're up.
Give me the.
I'll give you the symbol. I'll do a quick we're live when we're live, but it takes a little bit of a while. And then usually YouTube pops up and then I have to turn the volume down on this end because it's loud.
It says meeting being streamed
Mm.
now.
Okay. Well, if I don't need to do that, that would be fantastic. Usually it pops up. No? Do you see it anywhere?
Says live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, usually it does it automatically. All right, we're here.
All right. So as I was saying before, this is a PSA for everybody in our listening, viewing area, particularly our subscribers. But if you get a call from PGW, Pico, or any other utility, it is a scam. I had this happen to me just this week. Somebody claiming to be from Pico called me and said that they were going to shut off my power in like 40 minutes. Now, mind you, I was like 5 days late on my bill because of when I get paid and when Danny gets paid,
Mhm.
you know, but there shouldn't have been. And he was, however, what they do is they tell you it's going to be like 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Right,
And that's going to send your head into panic mode.
right,
And that's what they're gaming on.
right.
I ended up not getting any money taken, thankfully. I figured it out, before.
What did you do?
Uh, I actually called my parents,
Ah!
which is probably the last thing because I was still panicking. And then, like partway through it, I realized, wait a second, that is not a Philly number. And I'm only 5 days late. There's no
Right?
way
Yeah, they don't
they
shut you
would.
off for 5 days. You have to be
No,
late
no.
for at least this billing cycle.
But even
That even happens.
even then they don't do that. Like
No.
what they'll do is they'll send you out paper notices, even if you're um it like all electronic, they'll
Mhm.
still send you out paper notices, and it'll give you like a certain amount of time
Yes, yes. So
on
I'm
that for
glad
you
that,
to do
yeah,
that.
yes.
So like PGW and Pico will never call you.
No, and tell you they're shutting off all your electricity
They'll
in
never call
30
you,
minutes,
period, like for that.
right?
Like
I,
unless they're the only thing that they'll call you for is if like they have to turn off like the power or the gas for like repairs or
repair work or
something
something. Yeah,
to
you'll get an
let you know.
automated call or something. Definitely.
Yeah. But
Right.
like they're
But
not
they're,
gonna call you when they're gonna shut out off your
no,
gas.
you already will have had so many notices, and you're right, they would have you papered all over because shutting off so many utilities is a big deal.
It is,
Have to
and
go
and
through a
there's a
whole bunch
lot
of
of
stuff. They just can't.
regulation
Yes.
around that.
So if you feel like you get a call and it says, "Oh my God, we're shutting off your gas, your water, your electric, whatever you think is going to make you rush to panic," take a step back and realize that there is a scam going around. It's very believable. The number looks like they cloned the number.
It does
So it looks
it
like,
does
yeah,
look like it would be a Philly number,
yeah.
except like in my case, it had the 267
Uh,
area code, but
mhm.
then it had that as the first part of the regular part of the number, which is not a Philly thing.
Yeah. What have you
Yeah.
found, Steve?
Well, they said there's an Enquirer article. This is early May.
Excuse me.
Apparently Pico, anyway, upgraded its billing system in February. So they're using some of the confusion coming from that upgrade in the billing
Yes.
to leverage. And then also Pico said we will never ask for money over the phone. So I don't know about the other utilities, but Pico specifically says We do not ask for money over the phone.
I contacted my contacts in both the water department and in PG at PGW, and both said the same things.
Yeah.
They're not going to call you, and they're not going to ask for money over the phone ever.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and boo on those people that are doing that. They're terrible people.
They are that like because their target isn't me.
No,
They're-
no,
they're-
you figured
they're
it out. There's
their-
some
their
old people or
target-
some tired mother
Exactly.
or something.
Their
Yeah.
target is going to be like working single mom
Yep.
or an elderly
Right?
person,
I know, like I need
or maybe a
electricity for my
kid.
ventilator or whatever.
Yeah.
My CPAP.
So please, guys, matter of fact, if you get that call, and even if you don't believe me right now, hang up with them and call the PGW, the actual PGW
Right,
number,
right. Look it
or the
up.
PICO number,
311, yeah.
That's fun.
and talk and call
Yeah,
them directly.
Because that's one of the things I read on the story in the Inquirer. The woman heard it from the person calling them, and then she said, "Can I speak to your supervisor?" And of course, the second person who comes on is the supervisor, quote unquote. So yeah, like you said,
Hang up,
hang up, and
Call
what's
them
the
back.
official number?
Call,
Yeah.
call back the official
And I do the
number.
same thing with emails. If they say, "Oh, your account has been compromised," I don't respond through the email. I go back onto the internet and then look up what the official portal is, and then go back that way.
Exactly.
So
That's cool.
These people are pretty crappy. Like the guy even sounded like he was from Philly.
Ah, it might have been,
maybe
right?
they have a Philly AI voice
Yeah,
thing.
they
Who
could.
Yeah,
knows?
I don't know, but it was
They could.
they were pretty good if they weren't so
Mhm.
dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I actually have a question for you personally.
Uh-huh.
So remember back in the day when the homeless encampment or the unhousing or the big encampment, I guess we should just call it, downtown, like in that field near
Parkway.
the park.
On the parkway, yeah.
Yes. Now you never would, and I know you came back with some great pictures. There was like a demonstration day there, and everybody had signs, and it was a very inspiring day as far as lots of powerful images.
That was actually the day that I got married, by the
Was
way.
it?
Yeah.
Wow,
Jeez.
that's wild. Before
I had actually left there to go get married and then went back.
wow, that is insane. That is so cool. Well, cool. All right. That's
After like 12 years of being
yeah.
together.
So obviously you remember the day well. She's a special lady to put up with you going back and forth. I'll get married, but I don't want to miss the demonstration.
Anyways, you were saying. You were
Yeah.
saying.
So I think that a lot of people are confused because they see that journalists will come and take photos during those demonstration times, and then they feel that it almost gives them pass to just barge into people's, the encampments, and barge into where people are in, Kensington and such, and just take pictures and put cameras in their face.
Absolutely not. No, like because I've done both types of like, photojournalism where I've gone into encampments and like those kind of encampments,
Mhm.
like protest encampments.
Sure.
And I've also documented like folks on the street.
Mhm.
When I do that, like documenting like folks' life on the street, like there is an entire conversation. Sometimes it doesn't lead to me being able to take a photo, and I really respect like their thoughts. I try to explain what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and I explain that I've been on the street before, and like I go through like a whole process. And like I said, sometimes it doesn't lead to anything. Sometimes it'll lead to, images like months down the line. Where, there had been like a built trust.
Yeah.
And I try to never violate that trust.
Yeah.
So it like people it's I mean, although legally you can do it,
Sure, right. Public.
yeah, it doesn't make it right. And frankly, if you are doing it and like you aren't doing it in kind of the way that I'm doing it, where the person on the other side of the lens is my partner, not merely a subject,
Mhm.
I feel like you have a shitty ulterior motive
Mhm.
that isn't, either based in the art or in the storytelling of their story, not your story.
Mhm. Right.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you ever feel that you get wrongfully blamed for being one of those other kinds of journalists than the kind that takes care, being as we know you do?
Um, I don't think I have ever been personally had that situation
That's good.
personally.
Mhm.
Um I try not to really post too much of that on social media
I just
though.
mean from like other journalists or from other
Oh,
actors who are there.
absolutely not.
Okay.
Mhm.
Absolutely not. Now, I do have friends that are deeply involved in that, and I don't want to reveal their name because I know they're going through a lot of craziness right now from like a lot of people.
Mhm.
Um, but they have,
Oh yeah.
and like they've been working with the unhoused community for years.
Mhm.
And usually it comes from people that I would say are, how can I put it in a nice way? Um, Narcissistic assholes that don't know what their ass from a hole in ground and only do the things that they do because it makes them look and feel good.
Sure. Mhm.
Sorry, that's as nice as I could be about it.
That's pretty nice, considering that's a human garbage sort of behavior.
Like, I mean, it's very clear, like when somebody's just remember those, I don't know if you remember but like remember the Kensington videos
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're still
where,
making them.
yeah, where people would just
Yes.
drive through
Horrible.
or
Yes. Yes.
walk through
Yes.
and they would just film.
Yes. They're still doing it. They make
Yeah,
tons of views on YouTube. It's terrible.
those people are, that's what like bad actors look like.
Yeah.
Like those videos are what bad actors look like.
Right.
When you're actually going up to the person and like when you're able to get in close and like have a conversation with them, whether you're doing it on video or if you're that close to them, that probably you've had that conversation and you're a trusted person. That's different. And that's how you visually understand the difference between the two.
Mhm.
Like I've had people who have, you know, after and I the conversation took place be far before um the actual photography.
Mhm.
Um, but that have let me photograph them after shooting up and even while shooting up. And they did it for a reason. And the reason is between me and them,
Mhm.
and our conversation. And it was to tell their story, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, hopefully that clears that up.
It does. It does. It answers the question very much so. So I appreciate that. Because, when you're an independent sort of paper like we are, I think that people don't know who you are, what are your motives, that sort of thing. So it's just good to restate and clarify how
My motives are
care,
always
right?
to help the person on the other side by telling their story. And
Yeah.
sometimes that story's ugly. And there are going to be people that don't want to see that. because it upsets their worldview.
Right.
Other times other people will get it. I
Right.
don't give a damn about you.
Right.
I care about the person that's on the other side of the lens,
Right.
but I don't care about you.
Right.
Your opinion is, who are you?
Right.
What are you going to do to me?
Right. Right.
Well, nowadays they might firebomb my
Yeah,
house.
I was gonna say, yeah. But also, like, I guess on the other end
But
of
if you do, you're actually helping me because I got
Yeah, 'cause you'll take it.
amazing insurance,
it.
and I will get a way better house out of that.
But also from the other angle, on those days where there are demonstrations and there are a lot of people around, I had the feeling that there's a lot of photographers who come out of, the woodwork, and there's a lot of jostling for the photos or whatever. And
That always exists.
Yeah.
Like, and you could tell the amateurs from like the citizen journalists,
Yeah, right.
because the professionals from the amateur citizen journalists,
Mhm.
because the professionals know how to get that image whether you're in their way or not, and they have no problem knocking you out of the way
That's
if you're
hilarious.
being an asshole.
Yes, you're
Like,
supposed to. That's part of it, right?
There's an etiquette
Yep.
to it, and if you're not following that etiquette, I don't give a damn about you. I'm getting paid
Yeah.
to be here.
Agree.
I have I have other reasons for being there, but at the end of the day, like, you're messing with my money.
Exactly. On those types of shoots, that's your job. And exactly, there's an etiquette, there's a way, and everyone expects, from what I understand, from what I see, there is a good-natured, a professional
Oh,
jostle,
absolutely. Absolutely.
a competitive thing. And I do think that some people don't understand that that's part of it. Right.
Then you shouldn't be there.
Right.
Then you
Exactly.
shouldn't be there.
Exactly. If you're gonna get
Now,
upset.
now the real issue is the assholes on the other side of that lens at that protest that are pissing and moaning with their face covered,
Right.
that you're taking their picture. Bitch, get out the fucking road then. Get out the way.
Yep.
If you don't want to be on video or have your photograph taken, cover your face and keep doing what you're doing and keep your mouth shut.
Right.
Or don't be there, because you are
Right.
in a public space doing a thing that is newsworthy.
Right. Sorry. It's a newsworthy, it's a public space.
And I tell you what, you put your hands on me,
Mm-mm.
and it's a toss up whether I knock you the fuck out or I let it pass. It's a toss up. It depends on my mood that day. I've done both. I've done both.
I can imagine. I just want to reiterate that, because there's a lot of dynamics.
And I know y'all can see those lenses back there.
Oh yeah.
That lens back there weighs about 2 pounds. It is mostly metal. It will knock you the fuck out. That body, I have another one somewhere. It took a hit from a truck.
Oh my God.
And still worked. I changed it out anyways because I didn't like the fact that there was a crack in it, but it still worked. That truck had a broken window and a huge dent.
It's good to know that there's a use for the big equipment. As digital stuff brings it smaller and smaller, it's good.
It does. I look at people with those and I'm like, I don't
Mhm.
know if you understand what you're getting into, friend.
Just a little with your dinky camera, you're gonna need something warfare.
No, because I've had cops beat me, and I've had to use my camera, which I kept shooting with,
Yeah.
to defend myself. Like, I didn't assault the cop, I didn't hit him with it, but the camera was taking blows while I was still photographing.
That's incredible. That would not happen with a point and
With
shoot
it,
or a cell phone.
or with the modern the new ones with the mirrorless lenses. Like, those things will shatter
Careful.
like porcelain.
Yeah, but they're so cool.
I if I decide when if and when I decide to get back into shooting, which I deeply miss.
Oh.
I just don't feel comfortable in the moment doing it,
Mm.
you know, because there's just so much going on, and I'd rather focus on my family and, protecting my community. Um, but if and when that time comes, I have definitely got to upgrade because I'm probably like 2 or 3 generations already behind.
Yeah, and that matters,
And those are like those I've had those a good 5 years.
right?
Like they've gone through it.
But there's still cameras that are like many, many, many years old that are still doing
Oh
it.
yeah, and
People do
those work
prefer
perfectly.
antique ones. There's,
Those work perfectly fine. I think, do I have, did I? Oh yeah. The camera on the top up there, I don't think you can actually see it real well, but that was actually my dad's camera.
oh, cool.
Back in the 70s
Wow.
and early 80s, and it still works perfect.
Sure, right? They're not that, cameras aren't that complicated. I mean, they get more complicated with digital and all that other stuff, but as far as the mechanism itself, it's pretty straightforward. Mirror, lenses, etc.
I think I had to replace a few parts a few years ago, but before that, like, works perfect now.
You know that Annenberg Center has a fact check site?
I did not. I don't even know what the Annenberg Center is.
Penn.
What is who is
Penn.
Penn, I think.
Oh, Penn.
Yeah.
So what do we need about that?
Well, just it's called factcheck.org.
What does it do?
They fact check it.
Fact checks everything, viral claims, Facebook.
Oh
TikTok,
yeah,
So
I didn't know that. I didn't know that factcheck.org was Penn, but I've known about factcheck.org.
Wait, it says
forever.
Annenberg Center. Maybe I'm confusing the two. I know that Penn has an Annenberg Center. Let me see. Contact info. Hold on. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they're on 36th Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Annenberg Public Policy Center. That's neat.
I never.
Cool.
I've been using fact check for years, on
Yeah.
and off.
It kind of covers everything. It's pretty neat. TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, X.
Right. Did you see that Biden image of the video of him waving to like nobody, that it was all spliced?
Yeah.
I love that. I love that they have to splice it, but they don't have to splice the Trump ones because he's actually legitimately insane. So whenever he
Oh
goes,
my God.
they're like, "Quick, put something together with Biden."
His brain is fundamentally broken.
Fundamentally,
It really is.
on the most basic levels.
Yeah.
It's humiliating.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, the whataboutism really is what that is. That's out of the playbook, What about how bad Biden is? So we'll show you a video of it that we cut up.
Well, that was the whole point of the Hunter Biden prosecution was,
Sure.
to create a whataboutism as if Hunter Biden was running for president, or
Okay, well,
something.
One of the
And
comedy, one of the comedy shows we saw said, "Oh, well, I'm not voting for Hunter Biden again."
Exactly.
So stupid.
Sorry, my nose.
No.
We got allergies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my office is a little dusty. 'Cause I'm a dusty bitch.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, when you're sanding, the whole house looks dusty.
What are you sanding, by the way? What are you making?
We're redoing our bedroom. We had to take off all of the wallpaper, like must have been like 100 years worth of wallpaper.
Oh, Jesus.
They were like,
serious scraping going on.
oh yeah, we did all of that.
Yeah.
And then under it, like we had a choice. We could either spend the money and do all new drywall, which eventually I guess we'll have to do. I just didn't want to do it now, because I don't have time to deal with all that.
Yeah.
Or I could, just repair,
Tackle it over and sand it.
and like
Yeah.
fill in like the parts that, are really old and decaying and like
Mhm.
fix it.
Oh,
But it's
And
you have drywall, not plaster, right?
no, no, it's drywall.
That's
cool.
good.
Yeah.
And so that's what we decided to do. And the problem is Danny wanted it to be her project,
Oh,
but it was mostly my project.
well, it's a lot of sand. I mean, it's a lot of sanding. That's a real pain in the ass.
Well, it's fine. Like I have, like I said, I have
Andrew,
a hand,
I
you
had
know,
that still a pain in the ass. I did that. And the walls were just destroyed from the wallpaper coming off. So I had to like, and it took like 3 coats to get it, coats and sand, and then coat and sand to fill up all the little areas in the wall. It took forever. It was a mess.
oh, it does take a long
A
time, but it's
mess.
really easy. It's really easy. I could have, if I had the time, I could have done it in like 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
No, because you gotta let it wait between it, and then you gotta sand it, and you gotta cure it. You can't-
Yeah.
3 days.
No, it takes
Well,
like
Carolyn has
depending on what I was doing, like some of it, like it takes 5 minutes to cure. Others it might take like an hour or two to cure, depending on how much, you know, spackle you use.
Yeah, I was
But
tackling.
yeah. Carolyn's temperament does not lend itself to
Yeah, I feel like it takes forever.
methodical, repetitive
That's true.
sort of
It
process.
was torture.
I think the hardest part for me was we have like some of our wall that's rounded,
Yes.
and rather than, you know, square it, because I didn't want that, I liked that it was rounded. Um, that's the hardest part to sand
Sure.
because you got to shape it, which requires a lot of like delicate, you know,
Finesse.
yeah. And so hopefully while Danny's up there doing that, she does not mess that up because I don't want to have to go back and fix that again.
That's
Because
right.
I haven't done, like all that's left is the last bit of, you know, the last bit of sanding on that. It's already taped up, respackled, like it's perfect. It just has to be reshaped.
Nice.
So hopefully she don't mess that up.
Hopefully that works out. So then we gave you an assignment this week, from that that movie. Have you looked at it a little bit?
Oh, I watched the entire thing. I stopped a couple of times because I was just really angry at the ahistoricalness of it and like the bias and like one-sidedness of it.
Really?
But I wanted to keep watching because I feel that like their voices are important.
Interesting.
And I wanted to listen to what they have to say, even if some of what they were saying kind of stretched credulity, credulity, credulity,
Credulity.
credulity,
How was that?
I don't know. Credulity.
credulity. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Like incredulous.
but I don't know for sure. You know, I can't say that they were lying because, you know, I've never been in an Israeli prison because I've never committed an act of terrorism,
Sure, sure.
you know, in Israel or anywhere else for that matter.
Sure.
You know, but the from the start, like, and when I write it, you'll understand better. I hope.
Mhm.
Like it comes from the like a place that it comes from the place that is driving all of these wars, and that is the place that Israel and Jews specifically don't have a right to live in the land that is their homeland and don't have the right to self-determination in their homeland. It comes from that place. And that is what drives most of the problems in the Middle East, which is largely funded at this point from Qatar and Iran.
Hmm.
You know, yet the Houthis don't have the money to perpetuate their war on the Yemenis people and Israel. Hezbollah doesn't have the money to perpetuate its war on the Lebanese government and Israel. They don't even have the money to feed their own people. And That's, I mean, that's evident in the number of Yemenis that are starving to death, even as we speak. All these people are focused on, what's happening in Gaza. It's infinitely worse than in Yemen. It's infinitely worse in Syria. It's infinitely worse, in the Hezbollah held regions of Lebanon. Like, what are you guys talking about?
Right.
From like but that's what they're counting on. They're counting on people's hatred of Jews and the centuries long campaign and conspiracies against Jews to open up the door to get people to set aside their common sense and instead of ask, well, let me learn more. Maybe there is another side to this. And instead, like, they play on your emotions. Yes, it is horrible when somebody has a terrible experience in jail, and all jails should be, places of healing and reform and betterment. But that's not what they are anywhere. They all jails suck everywhere. I would argue that the stuff that they were talking about in the film, it's way worse in Philly jails. Way worse. But that's they don't want you to focus on like facts and like expanding your knowledge to a moderate position. Because I'm never gonna say that Palestinians don't also have a right to live in the land. They've been there for on and off, like, a few hundred years, you know.
So what is the moderate position?
The moderate position is that there should be two states. There should be a state for Jews, and the Arabs should have their own state. And anybody who disagrees with that only disagrees with that because they don't believe that Jews should have a state. There's already 48 states or something like that that are Arab, and that are eth, that are ethno state Arab ethno states. There are ethno state white ethno states out there. There are black ethno states. Why is it a problem that Jews should have one, not even really an ethno state? Like, even though, like, it naturally, like, it's a Jewish state and it's run on Jewish, principles, like 20 or 30% of the population is Arab. There are Christians, there are people from everywhere, from Africa, Morocco, from the Middle East to America to Europe. Like, there are people from every part of the world that live there. And they all, no matter how many times you scream apartheid, live there as equals within the Israeli state. If you're an Israeli citizen, you have the same rights, whether you're black, brown, green, purple, Arab, what are white people called? White people, whatever white people are, black,
Caucasian.
Caucasian, yeah. Like, it doesn't matter. You have the same rights. You can vote. There are Arab doctors, there are Arab professors, there are Arab members of government, there are Arab judges. There's even an Arab judge sentenced a former Jewish prime minister to prison. How is that apartheid? Do you not fucking know what the word apartheid means? Use your fucking brain, people. I get you're in college, but that's all the more reason you should have used your brain.
It should be warned from classes. I liked when you sent the piece that you sent from the Palestinian peace activist Hamza Hawadi. Is that his name? Hamza Hawadi. And he pretty much was speaking to, and it reminded me of the article you initially wrote that we kind of tried to rewrite or tried to modify to try to explain what went on in I guess was it Palestine or Gaza, where the issue was. Anyway, the idea that with the first, I think it's a guy, was it 2006 when Jimmy Carter allowed when Israel was going to withdraw from, I guess, was it Gaza or wherever? I don't know where, but there was some
Oh, you're talking about
PLO versus everyone expected that
yeah,
PLO
yeah.
would win, and then it became Hamas got voted in, and then they promised they were going to be the party of change, and then they wound up just
Well,
killing.
they were the party of change,
Oh, they
all right.
changed
Not
all
the
right.
change
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
everybody was looking for.
Right, and they decided to do a joint government, but it wasn't. They killed everybody. They're like, sure, we'll work with these guys, and then they killed them all, and then like everybody died, and all the kids now, no one voted. Everyone in the area is young, and they didn't get a
Well,
chance to vote
and
now
that's the thing that really hurts me,
right?
especially when like Westerners talk about, the child deaths. These kids, many of them are being forced to be soldiers,
Sure.
either through manipulation, through, indoctrination in the UNRWA schools, um, which it's already been proven, like beyond like any reasonable doubt that that they're indoctrinating these kids.
Well, and also there's no well, that was what the peace activist said and what keeps getting echoed. And even this brings up the fact that, no one's talking about how the doctor, father, and the journalist on human rights, they died in the last bombing because they were housing.
No, they didn't die in the bombing. They died in the assault.
Well, whatever, right? Because they had somebody in their house that they
Yeah,
were
the
But here's the thing. Here's
the
the thing. Here's the thing. My point is that it looks like from what your peace activist guy that you sent me when I read some of the stuff he's talking about and everything, like these people that are embedded aren't necessarily embedded because they want to be. That Hamas literally is
Uh-oh.
like, we're gonna put them here and I'm gonna kill you if you don't allow this, or you're gonna take this money and you're going to do this and we're going to make sure you
Absolutely,
have to.
absolutely.
So these people
Well,
are the victims as well. It's like,
and absolutely they are. Absolutely
right?
they
And
are.
so to me, it makes
But there's
more the
another
horrible.
flip side of that, and that's the pay for slay program that the PLO uh has been doing for decades.
Well, I'm just saying that anyone who loves peace is fucked there because they're
Absolutely.
basically, it's terrible. So, I mean, if you're going to be going after everybody who doesn't love peace, that's everybody because they're all like scrapping they're all
No, it's not everybody. It's not everybody. There are people that have been
people that would like to,
brainwashed.
well, anyone that likes peace is what I'm saying.
Oh
It
yeah.
seems to be a problem. Like
Well, and that's
you're
that's
fucked,
why
and the better you represent peace, the more you're actually a target for Hamas or anybody that's like, hey, Mr. Peace guy, they'll never look for us here. So they literally, the more you try to stand up to do the right thing, the more you become a great target or a great shield for whatever nefarious shit they might want to do. They can pretty much
well, that's also why they chose the targets that they did on
yeah, it's
October 7th.
horrible.
The communities, the kibbutz that they targeted, those were peace activists.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were very, and that's
They-
also why it makes me upset over here because we're being targeted. You know what I mean? Like they're targeting kids I mean, they're their own form of human shield, right? They're not like a physical human shield, but they're still taking the heat from Hamas for
Absolutely.
the
Well,
world, right?
they're diverting the heat
Yeah.
from Hamas.
Yeah. Right.
But it's such a racist thing to do, like the way they do this, because like it takes away the agency of Arabs, which we view as our cousins. They're our cousins.
They
So
are.
like this is a family dispute and you're taking away the agency
Yeah.
of the abuser.
I need to talk to them. And they're like, no, you're not talking to her. It's like when like my sister's being abused by her husband and I need to talk to my sister. And they're like, no. She's fine. She's fine. She's fine. And I can never get to her. And instead, everyone's blaming me for having a horrible family. And that's what it feels like.
Mhm.
That's what it looks like to me. And I feel really bad because a lot of the peace activists that I'm hearing from both sides, they're genuine, like you're saying, they're genuinely frustrated and shut out of what should be their own conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? I've operated in a lot of left-wing circles, and I reiterate, I am as left-wing leaning as I have ever been. I still want to fight for and do fight for when I have the opportunity, all of the causes that I did before. But one of the things that I had noticed decades ago, and I'd written about it at the time, was the way in which Westerners, specifically on any issue that involves, um, you know, a black or brown country or a Middle Eastern country, you know, speak over people from the region.
Mhm.
And even more so, the way that white people, white activists, whether you call yourself an anarchist, a communist, whatever, speak over marginalized groups here. And it's the same thing. Westerners do it to people from elsewhere. White people do it to people that are here and struggling here. And it's one of the most frustrating things that I've had to observe. Because I want to scream at them. Shut the fuck up. Let the goddamn people talk.
Right.
You know, or why are you centering yourself? Step the fuck back.
Yeah.
You know, and there was a moment during the Black Lives Matter movement, and leading up to uh the 2016 Democratic Convention in Philadelphia, where the black folks in the community said, no, I've had enough. Step back, get to the back,
Mhm.
let us lead shit. And I had hope for a moment. And then it was shattered the next day.
Aw.
And you know, I'm laughing about it now, but it's serious. You know, and honestly, I don't know what to do sometimes. I really don't. You know, and maybe that's why I'm a journalist, because I don't necessarily know what to do, you know, and I can point out the issues and like talk about it that way without really offering any serious, you know, answers, because it's not really my job.
Mhm.
But it's so frustrating. It is so frustrating. And you know, you asked me the other day on our Slack, you know, what we can do as, you know, people in America. And answer, you know, you can try to educate people on an individual basis, but that's not enough, especially if you're leaving it to Jews, because there aren't enough of us. We're only like 15, 16 million worldwide. Like we're a drop in the bucket, you know, compared to non-Jews. You know, and I've had conversations with black and brown folks who have kind of said the same thing.
Mhm.
You know, it shouldn't be up to us to solve your problem, because the problem isn't me
Right.
as a Jew. The problem isn't, you know, the black folks that that are struggling. The problem is y'all. It's Westerners.
It is. It's the whole attitude. It's the
It's
whole
white
everything.
folks.
System we set
It's
up.
people in power.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not our,
Our own people. No, we set up the system. It's our own people. You're right. You're absolutely right.
I shouldn't have to educate like every person, that I come across, who's non-Jewish.
No.
Or apparently, in some cases, in these days, there's a small, very overly loud minority of Jews that apparently we should have to take care of that. That's somebody's got to smack these young,
Not all young.
anti-Zionist. No, that's true. They're not all young, but these anti-Zionist Jews,
Yeah.
what we'd like to call I'm Jewish, but the I'm Jewish but Jews.
Yeah. I don't know them, but I guess that would be the Matthew Solomons and stuff like that. Right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. I'm very interested. The Falzer Club is that club that, they do a lot of stuff that, they did our last event. They do all kinds of community stuff. I was just kind of like disappointed to see that, that it's just like this one, like, I don't understand. This is the movie we all have to see. Like,
No,
like
the movie that you all have to see is
Right.
the October 7th movie, so that you guys can understand what exactly happened and what this terrible thing, why this terrible thing needs to be rectified by destroying Hamas and getting our hostages back. Until that happens,
Well, I mean,
like,
destroying Hamas is a kind of a crazy, I don't know how realistic that is, being as they're terrorists. You can't really destroy terrorists.
you can go after their leaders and their soldiers,
Yeah.
and you can destroy that, but simultaneously, or at least after the fact, you have to do a lot of healing.
Right.
And
They're just
that
gonna
was
pop back up. Like there's no, if you have
but
no plan to deal with the people or something to replace Hamas, then you're just gonna keep, that head's just gonna keep coming up, right? I mean, that's just what we know about terrorism, even in the United States.
well, yeah, and that's why you have to de-radicalize, just like you got to do the Trumpers. The
Sure.
Trumpers all need to be de-radicalized. So do, the people that have been, indoctrinated, into Hamas and radical Islamic, propaganda.
Right. And the whole
Yeah,
right wing bullshit going on with Netanyahu, everybody needs him out, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Everybody
Netanyahu needs to
just on
go.
either side, extremism on either side. If that can just be done, I think that would be such a step in the right direction for everybody.
It would.
Such a shame.
Yeah.
It seems like, because it breaks my heart, especially in that while I understand and appreciate how important it is to not allow terrorists such as Hamas to complete this reign of terror, which is happening not only in Israel that we know about when we saw it on the news, but it's been going on in Palestine as well. It's been going on, there's a lot of that to get rid of. I forgot where I was going, but yes, that's the problem, right? That's the problem is the terrorism and that you can't. The more we go after it, the more citizens die, and the more citizens die, then the worse it looks, and it seems to, and it takes away from the importance of the overall movement to get rid of extremism. That's what I was trying to say,
But
right?
you also can't fight a war with people that are using
No, it's unfair.
civilian shields.
No.
And I mean, honestly, it is a miracle that more people in Gaza haven't died than what has.
Sure, but it's still an ineffective plan.
Yeah,
Killing people just to kill more people, without a plan to handle it. If knowing you can't get rid of all the terrorists.
But
Why are you
see,
killing?
but this is one of those things where you're speaking as as a Westerner.
I
You don't
speak as a
actually,
military person who knows.
you don't
military.
actually know that there's not a plan,
Oh,
you
no,
know,
no.
for the
that's
day
been
after.
that's been pretty widely reported that Netanyahu's been criticized for not having a plan.
That's why people were.
But you're talking about it, people who are criticizing him are non-Westerners
No,
who
no,
don't
I-
have
I-
access
I
to
read
that
that-
information.
I read the Israeli Times
Yeah.
and stuff, and that Haaretz.
Haaretz,
But
yeah,
again,
I
still,
read
they
that.
don't have access to that information. Do you know everything that the president
But I'm just saying,
is doing?
I'm
Corey,
saying-
Corey, you can't know everything.
No, no,
That's the difference.
Exactly.
I'm
That's
just
my
saying-
point.
That's the
Exactly.
You
problem.
don't know.
But
We
you
don't
can go,
know.
You can go on what's being reported.
No, or also
You
the point is-
can.
But the point is
Yeah.
too, that regardless of what's being reported, what we've seen is a year of total blam, blam, blam that
Whose fault
isn't
is
going
that?
anywhere. So that's the problem, is that I see
No,
that's.
Yeah,
It
you're
is.
fighting it. You're
But-
fighting.
but
You're fighting a conventional war against terrorists,
but
and
it's
that's
making
not
it-
how you.
But it's making
It's
it
not-
really exactly. It's hurting the cause. It seems to me both of them, but either one. The Palestinian the pro-Palestinian camps here are destroying that cause,
Mhm.
and the bloodshed that is legitimate in a way, the idea of the goal, but it's not, in that these are terrorists, and you're not going
If you look at the number of people, like if you actually separate out, like
I know where you're going with this, but okay.
then you understand that, like this is better, like odds,
It's
and like
still a bad.
and I
It's
don't like
still
I
dead-
don't even
it's
like
still dead people by the thousands.
It's still bad PR. It's
that's
super
war.
bad
Doesn't look.
PR.
It's not a good look, as the kids
So
say.
yeah, it's super
it's
bad
that's
PR.
war. That's
No, but
that's
Not
like
like
that's
that.
the thing.
No, you're fighting it the wrong way.
You have, if you're gonna do
how do you
war,
fight a
you have-
war without
if
any
you're gonna
death?
do war, you need an army, two armies war. That's one thing.
That's
and
symmetrical.
those are
symmetrical
that's the
warfare. This is
metrics and
asymmetrical.
those are the metrics.
You're right, but it's not
Yeah.
our fault.
Well, we're not saying fault. We're saying what it
I'm
looks
yelling in
like.
my ear.
It's,
but-
Well, that-
we're
you-
just
you
saying
know,
that you're
that-
killing civilians.
My,
That's
no,
part of the
Okay,
problem.
so
but it's
so when, like, so is every other war in the world.
But
In
that doesn't
fact,
excuse it. It's not
infinitely
death.
worse.
It's still dead people who are civilians who are innocent.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what. No, he seems missing the point. My point is just that in this instance, and no,
You are missing the
Unbelievable.
point.
You're
You
un-
are.
No, you are unbelievable. You are rubber. I am glue.
no. But and the other thing, to Corey's point too.
Wait, he should be glue and I should be rubber.
You're both anyway. But Corey's got a point.
We're
He's
both
right,
idiots.
because we're hearing about this, right, Steve?
Mhm.
And the United States is fighting its terrorist wars in Sudan and Yemen,
sure.
all these places.
Oh yeah.
And no one's asking about the people that we're decimating over there.
Yeah.
So
We're not even asking about like
I understand.
the Arab on Arab wars
I getcha.
that have infinitely higher.
I
death
getcha. But
tolls.
my point is,
It's not a-
I don't think that still you have to fight the war you have. You have to, and this is war.
You're right, you do.
This is
And this
is
and
the war
Israel
that
is doing a
this is-
far
this
better
is-
job than anybody.
That's
And
like
this
what
is-
aboutism.
and
is
this is-
what
no,
that
no.
sounds
It's not.
No.
It's
Sounds
not.
like what aboutism.
But this is
It's
the war
not.
that is also being
Yeah.
fought in the.
We're simply asking that if you were gonna talk about us, that you do it across the board.
Yeah.
You can't say that
not.
we're
Yeah, we're talking about
fighting
this. We're talking
the
about
wrong way,
Hold on.
and then when
I-
500,000 Syrians are
I
killed,
gotcha. I'm
you
hearing.
don't say a
You can't
fucking
fix
word
it all
about
at
it.
one
I
time.
no, that's not the point.
when
That
when-
sounds like
when-
whataboutism. It
No.
does sound like whataboutism.
Don't listen to him. But my point, but you can keep talking if you wanted to. I did have a point though, but go for it.
I'm saying that we're asking for you to measure us, and by us I mean Israelis, because everybody has lumped every
Yeah.
other Jew into that category
Oh,
by the same measure
yeah, that's
that you do every other country.
Okay. I hear what you're saying.
Don't set aside a special measure.
it's
But
not
here's
that.
the
us.
thing.
It's
But
not
here's the
that.
thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
No,
Here's
it's
the
not.
thing. Here's the thing.
It is.
Oh yeah,
It
it is kind of. It is different. I will. Corey's right in that it is a different situation. But my point is also that it is a different situation. Jewish people. You don't have a committee of Sudanese in the United States who are, able at this level. You don't have Yemeni with that kind of power. Jewish people, not that they're all powerful or anything like that, but I'm just saying you see them more in the night. It's a PR situation what we have here, and you can't deny it. And you're a global people, and it's a PR situation, and we're not. It is unfair that these other atrocities, the United States gets to bomb everybody. We get to bomb all the civilians.
I'm not even just
Nobody
talking
talks
about the
it.
United States.
Right,
I'm
right.
not
But I'm
even
saying that that's
like I'm talking
the
about
Arab wars, whatever. Everybody's allowed to do that except for we can't war like you guys. We're held over to other standards. My point
and
is
we
that
are.
I
It's
know, but
clear
my
that we
point is
are.
that that's not just because you're held to different standards doesn't mean you're going to have to lose or you're going to have to double down. It means you have a different war on your hands. You have a PR
It means
situation
that
that you need to address somehow because it's not working. You know what I mean? Like something needs.
it's not working because we're spending too much time paying attention to Westerners and what they want for us
And why is that though? It's because you can't
because
take all the
we've been.
money from Westerners and then be,
Do
you know
you
what I
know
mean?
how much money and technology Israel
Of
pumps
course.
into the West?
Yes, yes.
We aren't
The
getting
global
anything for
world.
Corey,
free
all
here.
we're saying that in the history of asymmetrical warfare, there's been very few, I
Calm
think
down.
maybe one
Calm
example,
down.
of an actual force fighting asymmetrically that is won because you end up hitting civilian populations, you end up hitting people who aren't combatants directly. That's part of
Okay.
the problem.
So
You have
so
to pacify them.
Absolutely.
You have to pacify
no,
them.
no. You do not, you never pacify terrorists. That only
No,
leads
you take
to
away.
more
No,
terrorism.
I'm saying you take away the things that are causing the trouble in Palestine. The problem with it is their infrastructure is destroyed. They don't have any
Well, we all
jobs.
agree on
They,
that.
there
We
was
all agree
We're
on
trying
that.
they
to
were
fix.
doing that because because Hamas was taking the money
Right,
and
right. We all
creating the
agree
terror
on that.
Of
tunnels.
course,
We all
but
And
agree on get the
I'm saying you
extremists
don't
out.
get what I'm
like
saying.
that's
You
not
don't get rid
Israel's
of.
problem.
I'm saying you don't get rid of terrorists by bombing
Right.
heavily populated
Right.
centers.
Both sides have
And
to
that's
be
just
and
historical. That's not Jewish. That's not anything. That's just
And
historical
I think,
warfare.
and I think if we can get the extremist crazy people out of this, that's what this family would agree on. They would work on that. And I think that's the tragedy
Sure.
here is that somebody on either side is manipulating us to be so outrageously angry at each other for
Let me
fine reasons. But
no, I want to ask I forgot your name for a second. Steve, a question for a second.
Mhm.
The Palestinians in Gaza and really throughout the 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 territories aren't particularly rich. Like
Mhm.
there's some that are,
Mhm.
and there's some that aren't. But the infrastructure, like you pointed out, was really terrible before. Though they did have 36 hospitals in Gaza. That's like one per mile. That's way better than we do over here.
Well,
But setting that aside, setting that aside, if the infrastructure was so bad and the West has been sending billions of dollars, through UNRWA, through all of these, UN programs, through
Mhm.
all of these other governmental, programs. How is it that Gazans and those communities were such shit? And I'm not, and I don't mean that derogatorily, like in like a derogatory sense.
Mhm.
I mean that in the infrastructure sense. And
Mhm.
I know somebody's going to clip that, but uh, in the infrastructure sense. But their leaders who are in Qatar are multi-billionaires. Like, don't you think that that's the problem?
No, I think the other part of the problem is not only not having the
You don't think that
infrastructure
it's
and
a
having the,
problem?
I think the other part of the problem, let me finish, is that fact that Hamas is in power. And it gets us right back to what we talked about at the very beginning. Get rid of Netanyahu's government, get rid of Hamas, let's start over. Two-state solution is great. But again, what you're doing right now is using traditional warfare methods against a population that houses terrorists, and terrorists are using them as human shields. But those deaths are not seen by the broader community, globally, as all justified killings. Is
And
what I'm
whether
saying.
that's racism or not,
It
it's an
is.
issue, right? But whether it
But
is or not,
here's the
that's
thing.
still
There's
Here's
a
the
PR,
thing.
there's a PR component to this that you're not getting.
Well, he
Let me
gets it,
no,
but
let me
he
let
just
me
doesn't feel
put
like
it to
they're
you this way.
significant.
When I was in the military, like, and I was thinking about like the combat in front of me. I don't give a damn what the West thinks about it. I don't. When people are shooting at me, you know, from a village, from, a tree line, near a village, I don't give a damn about
Well,
what
you're
the
talking
West
from a
thinks.
soldier.
You're
We're
a
talking
soldier.
from
About that.
policy. We're talking
Talking about the
policy.
people who are watching this war, the people in the world who are seeing this.
You can't if you are fighting a war, you cannot worry about
No,
Well,
no,
you did-
but the policy,
the
the general
West
does.
thinks
No, the
about
generals
that.
The
do.
politics
The policy
matter.
does.
Politics
Especially
matter.
especially in a global,
Yeah,
in a
politics
global,
matter.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that definitely. I agree. The foot soldiers, no, but the people, the generals, and the people that are, you've got like the United States in this. You got France. You got everybody's coming in.
Let
So you
me
have to
let me
make
put this
certain-
let me put this in better maybe a better the way we're looking at this.
Okay.
When they did the rescue for those kidnapped victims a couple, week or two ago.
Mhm.
The very next day, the only conversation that you were having outside of Jews who were obviously celebrating the rescue of the hostages was I guess there was like 200 they claimed at the time
Right.
dead.
Right.
They didn't say it, but they didn't say why were those people dead? Why were those people like
Yes. They didn't say they were using
fighting?
human shields and dead.
Why were they being used as human shields? Why were they fighting? Like we can't worry about
But there's
what y'all think.
Yeah, but no.
When-
There's the whole, what did Martin Luther King do, right? Like, you do passive resistance. You have to say, like, we're not going to put up with this. We're not going to kill these people for you. We're not going
Let
to
me
go
tell you
after
something.
Hamas
We have
for you.
been
We're not,
dying.
you know what I mean? Like, they're,
Jews have been dying
I understand that, but
to
so have,
appease
yes,
our
but it worked
oppressors'
but I'm just saying,
sentimentalities
Well,
for
let's-
I'm
thousands
just-
of years now.
Just to get back to your analogy about being a soldier.
Those days
And
are
what
done.
you see and what you see in the field of battle. And in fact, this actually goes back to my point. When you're put into an urban situation, hold on.
Again, we're
When you're
not the
put into an
problem
urban
there.
situation, you're going to act like a soldier. You're going to look for targets. And it's a hammer and nail situation. Anyone who pops up who looks somewhat suspicious is a target. So
Yeah,
you're gonna
because
shoot.
we're trying to
You're
survive.
going to shoot.
and
yes,
get-
are
get
you
our-
surviving
achieve
or are you
our
shooting a person
objective.
who's an innocent? That's
Well,
what my
here's the
point
thing, but
is.
here's the thing, if
You're
you
in an
wanna-
urban
but
environment.
if you want to survive,
It's
you're
real
not
easy
going
to
to be safer by killing everybody, because you're never
it's
going to be
real
able to
easy
kill
to
them all.
Monday quarterback.
That's it.
It's
not
real
Monday
easy
morning quarterback. It's the
It
political
is.
reality
The
of
point
this.
is that
There's a
though-
political
because
there
you know
is
what happened before
Yeah.
we had the IDF to defend us. We were just killed in
That's
the
what we're talking
But
about
hundreds
right
that's
now.
bad.
of
But that
pogroms.
Right
doesn't
now.
make you safer.
That sounds like
You
you're
know what I mean?
traumatized.
That it doesn't make you safer. It makes exactly.
No,
you
it just means that we have the means and methods to defend ourselves, and we're
obviously
not.
Are you
Obviously
And we're not.
Obviously
If
not.
October
October
7th,
7th.
obviously not.
Jesus.
That was you guys protecting yourselves. Obviously not. So that's my point, is that you're just going to get another one of these. So that's the problem.
So the solution from the West is for us to lay down our
no,
arms and just
the
let them
solution is a
genocide us.
two-state solution, but right
Like we
now
said.
They don't want it.
and they're working on it, and I'm glad they
They
are.
don't.
But I think
They're
we
not
should
though.
But I think we should acknowledge that we're all being manipulated otherwise. The angrier you get at the encampments, the more this
I'm not angry
goes-
because they have a criticism of
right,
Israel
but the more that's
policies
fed into
or
that, the more
and honestly, like even when before like they became like blatantly anti-Semitic.
It's just
Like I didn't have a problem with them calling for a ceasefire. I thought it was foolish.
right.
I thought the way that they should be asking, making that demand of Hamas. I thought, those things, but I wasn't angry at them. I didn't get angry at them until they started preventing Jewish students from going where they need to go. When they started saying blatantly anti-Semitic
I
shit.
get it. I get it.
When
And
they started equating,
exactly. And it's just very I hear it. And it's the same, but like
but you're saying that I'm mad at the encampments
it's not
for
personal. I'm not speaking of it personally though. That's the thing. This conversation keeps going into personal. And I think we're trying to talk more to the overall what is happening, who are the puppet, what's going on here. And it seems quite obvious when you take, like, again, it's not about safety. If it were about safety, they'd be working very hard on the undermining the Hamas from a more humanitarian level of letting the people getting safety and all that sort of stuff.
do you
That's obviously not
understand how much how the lengths to which Israel has gone to ensure
right.
that people are getting out of
Not far enough.
Yeah,
how
not
much
enough.
further can you go? We've gone
I
further than
understand that,
anybody
and
else
it's a problem.
could.
I understand that, but all I'm saying is I'm not saying that it's anyone's fault. I'm not trying to make it seem like you have any fault in this personally or anyone does, but to believe that the answer is more war and more going after them, and that we should be happy to kill these people because, oh wow, we got
No,
one
I'm not happy to kill
something.
anyone,
No, right, exactly. And as more
except for maybe
more the
Sinwar. I'd
narrative
be happy.
focuses on the
I'd be happy
fighting,
if we could
the
kill
less it can
Sinwar.
work on the rebuilding. And I think that if we can lay down that's what you're going to have to do. That's what every peace movement involves, is laying down your arms and saying, I give up. And if you kill me, but you can't kill all of us. And eventually people
But
are
they
going to look
can.
and they're going to see that we're all getting slaughtered again. And then everyone's going to
But
go, okay, stop. We
they're
can't
not.
do this. And that's what's
They're
happening
not.
to the
We
Palestinians. Whoever
cannot.
gets slaughtered worse gets some
We
kind
cannot. We cannot
it's not
rely on you
it's
guys.
the wrong way of no, it's not
Jews
good.
cannot rely on you guys to keep us safe.
What's with the you guys?
The Western world.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, is my opinion is that what you're doing right now is, I'm not saying give up your validity as a state. I'm not somebody who believes Israel doesn't have a right to exist. They have a full right to exist.
Of course you do.
October 7th was a fucking humanitarian tragedy and was awful.
No, it was a war
else.
crime, and
And
it
it
was an
continues to be.
attempt to
But I'm
genocide.
also saying that the policies followed by the Netanyahu government, which is in his best interest to continue the war, to keep his ass out of jail,
And that's a fair criticism.
have been building up bodies,
feel we're
not
getting
all
manipulated.
of which
We're being
can be
manipulated.
fully classified as terrorists.
We're being
You're
manipulated.
and you're right about
Being
that,
manipulated.
and I'm not going to
That's-
contest that.
Right.
We're being manipulated.
But you're
it
saying
does-
that, oh, we could have killed more if we wanted to, if we were more careless. But that
But that's-
doesn't.
we're
But
still
that-
being
that-
manipulated.
that's also
doesn't think
true.
You're hearing of that as fast.
Both things can be true at the same time.
No, they couldn't be.
Yes, they
It's saying that
can.
it's not a big deal, that you could be more careless about this, and that those it makes it sound it sounds dismissive of the people who have been killed, who
Not
may
at all.
be innocent.
Not at all.
I'm just telling
I-
you how it sounds.
I don't
don't care how it sounds.
I'm just telling you how it sounds.
I don't care. I don't
I
care
don't.
how it sounds.
I don't.
Like I'm living in reality, and
Oh, okay.
and
Well, I'm not in reality, but
I'm not saying that
it
you're
doesn't
not.
sound. It doesn't sound good. Okay,
Why
not a
is
good
it-
look.
Hold on.
Not a good look.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Why is that not? I thought I actually don't feel that when Corey says they could. I think that is an actual valid point. I do
Well,
agree. When I looked into it, the United States and other countries, we are having war all over the.
Yeah, but
fucking
no.
planet, and
No
no
Hold
one
on,
cares.
Hold on.
And
Let's
it does seem a little.
No, let me refocus.
Okay.
What's happening right now? It makes it sound like the argument I'm trying to make is that when you're rolling in a conventional force against in an asymmetrical battle in an urban landscape, people are getting killed who are not
Okay, but you're
necessarily
putting
who are
the
not.
onus
Let
on
me
the wrong
finish.
people.
Let me finish. Not necessarily combatants are going to get hit. That is a PR problem. There's a political dimension to this that I don't think you're getting or you refuse to care about. but the fact that you don't care about it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
And it kind of adds to the hurt. Personally,
Who's hurt?
makes it a little sadder.
What are you talking about? I'm sorry. Huh? Say that again. I didn't hear you.
But
What?
Wait, what did you say?
me, I just said
Yeah.
makes it sadder.
Oh, what part?
The what you were saying about.
Okay. Here's my response to this.
Okay.
You are putting the onus on Israel. Israel is not the one who's embedding themselves in civilian areas.
They rolled into the civilian areas. They went to Rafah when they were told
Because
not to.
that's where the terrorists are.
Are you sure that's where they are?
Yes. And
It
you know
also
how
happens to be where that also happens to be where the food
no,
and aid-
don't change the goalpost on me here.
I'm not changing the goalpost. It also happens to be
but
two
that-
things can be true at once. It also happens to be where the food and aid are coming in.
So the reason why
That's
the
where the
terrorists
people
went,
go.
the reason why the terrorists went there is because they knew the people were going to be there because they were
Exactly.
food. But that's my point is that it's not that's not a good but towards
It is.
point they did the best they could to tactically take out who they were seeing is who's there. However, that still results in civilian deaths and it still looks really bad and it still adds to the problem that we have right now, which is escalating and then this is the kind of shit that's going to lead to right-wing backlash all over Europe and
It
already
is.
turning
It
up.
is. And
I
in
mean,
the US.
so like when you think about the overall goal, if Israel was a fair
But
player
it's not
trying to go for
Israel's.
democracy, they could see that what they're doing is actually pushing the world pendulum into right-wingism, which is actually going to backlash on them and the rest of us. So I guess that's another reason why it seems like extra.
But
like,
again, you're
should
still
not be doing
putting
this.
the onus
It is,
on
but that's where
Israel.
it is because that's where the eyes are. That's
You
the
invaded
unfortunate
their
thing about
territory.
the unfortunate thing about PR. It doesn't make sense sometimes, and it's a bad and it's just bad. It's just a bad look. And if you put the numbers of people against it, regardless of how horrific and horrible October 7th was, it's nothing number wise when you compare it to what's happened in response. So I think the whole world's going like, all right, guys, you got a lot. I mean, you really hurt them. And I understand Israel's desire to be like, well, we want to be safe. But my point again is that with terrorists, you're never going to be safe. And there becomes a point where you're just taking, regardless of whether you are right for doing what you're doing, there's still a court of public opinion. And the more you flout that, the more
Okay, let me
you hold
ask.
on to those principles, like, oh, it's not our onus, then this just keeps snowballing. To my point, right wing, bad for everyone. So it seems to me a very
Let me ask you this.
poorly
Let me
thought
ask
out
you this.
strategy.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Say you had, just for the sake of argument, you had children, or maybe it's your mom or your cousin or whatever, and some bad guy
Mhm.
takes your family, harms them in the most horrible ways, and takes some number of them, maybe it's 3, 4, 5 of them, off to some other place. They surround themselves with, people that weren't necessarily involved,
Mhm.
but maybe they agree
Mhm.
with it.
Maybe they didn't. Maybe they felt
Maybe they didn't.
because
Maybe
were
they
forced
may
by a
maybe-
barrel
The
of
guy
a
has
gun.
a gun to their head.
The guy has a gun to their head. Let's go with that one.
Yeah.
The police, the world police in this case, refuse to actually do anything about that. They don't talk about or want to talk about the fact that these people have your family members.
Right.
They pretend that you're at fault.
Mhm.
They blame you for it. What do you do?
Okay, how about similar question because it's not quite exactly. What if the cops will do something,
But they're not.
what they'll do is they'll blow up a school that they're pretty sure the people that did that thing will get punished.
Are the people in the school?
some of them, but some of them are also children.
Okay.
So do
Now,
I want all of them dead?
now, is it the school is leveled or is it very targeted?
I'm going to say that they don't know that the cops are going to tell me we can do what we can.
Because
but
I
we
have an
might
example
that's what
here
I'm saying.
of this.
But
I have an
this
example
is
of
a
this.
hypothetical, right? Though that's a perfectly good hypothetical. If they told me, yes, you can get your cat and your dog back, or yes, you can get your family back, but we're going to go into this school and we may take out some innocent kids, but we'll get the guys that did it. Should you go? Can we go in and get them? I would say no. I really would. I'm sorry, but I really would.
You wouldn't
I
do
would.
everything in your power.
I would do
make
everything
sure
within my power, but I wouldn't
you would let your kid
not let.
or
I would
family die at the hands of the terrorists.
if someone took a kid and they had that much power, like if someone was sat next to me and took my kid, I'd beat the shit out of them to get the kid back. But if someone had my kid and I didn't have them access to them, they were on the other side across somewhere, I couldn't trust where they were. I didn't know where they were. I was being told different things, and the only thing they said that could possibly bring some sort of fairness was if they blow up this area and it could be near a school and we could kill people. That would be no comfort to me. That I wouldn't even, you don't even know your kid's alive, or your family's alive, because this is a terrorist situation. You don't know where they are. Nobody knows for sure. I think that's a bad deal. No, I would not.
Even if that terrorist was the government of that area.
Again, in a terrorist situation where I don't know if my family's going to get released, I don't know I can't trust the information that's coming, and all you're telling me is that the best you can do is this tactical move that may or may not take out the people that need to be taken out, and maybe they'll take out other people that had absolutely nothing to do with it. No, again, that doesn't sound like a good deal to me. This is dealing with terrorists, dealing with not sure information, all the information. No one knows. The United Nations, like, we know how many people are still alive.
No, the United Nations has been
Hamas goes, we don't know
rolling
anything.
cover.
So like everyone, there's like 4
The United Nations has been rolling cover
I
for
agree.
Hamas.
Yeah, but they don't know. People don't know. The United States says we don't know. Israel says they do know. So I don't know who's lying. I don't know what the truth is. All I know is that, again, in a situation of terrorists, it doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like tentacles, and you're just making more terrorists, and additionally, you're just pushing us all to the right wing. It's bad for the global everything. And I understand that you are on right ground. You are on solid moral ground in many, many, many ways, but that's not enough for me when I look at it just feels we're all being manipulated.
A lot of collateral damage.
We're all being manipulated, and there's collateral damage that's somebody's benefit, but it ain't us, and it ain't you.
You're right. It ain't us. It ain't me.
us.
But
So
I know
what's
who
going on, but I don't
I know
understand.
whose head is on the chopping block.
Who?
I know whose head is on the chopping block, and it's not yours.
Right.
It's mine.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how many heads are on the chopping blocks. I don't know how many chopping blocks we got.
Seems like a lot of people
I think
are paying.
a lot of people are supposed to be on the
Yeah.
chopping block when I look at it.
Yeah.
I think
Especially
I don't know.
for people living there.
And actually, who do I know? I might be on the chopping block simply because of journalism, or simply because of I'm not right wing enough, or simply because of I'm a woman, or simply because who knows? So I don't actually know who's on the chopping block at this point right now. I don't know where all our enemies are. I know that anti-Semitism is a horrible, we don't understand enough. It's a horrible and a vein that runs through history, and it's shameful, and we don't know enough about it, and you obviously know enough about it, but on the whole, again, PR wise, that's another thing people need to talk about. We need more people talking about where all the insidious ways that we just, like, I didn't even realize this. I'm following those people that you gave me that I love so much. I learned so much from them, and they had this great graphic that I'm sure you've seen a million times. It shows all the evil cartoon characters through time, and then points out how they all have the nose, and they all have the thing, and they're all like
Of course.
yeah. It's like, oh my God, that is just, anyway, it's fucked up, man. That's all. I'm sorry.
I think the root of this conversation, and this is what I've been trying to drive at from the get-go, whether you want to talk about PR or not, the reality is that we're being held to a standard that no one else is expected to uphold. Not the US, not countries in Europe, not even other Arab countries, not African countries, which, like, frankly, there are far more concerning things going on in Africa right
It
now.
almost sounds like you're like, it's like a race to the bottom. Like, isn't it a good thing to be held to a better standard sometimes? Isn't it kind of like, oh, is it a good thing to be like, okay, so everybody's
It's
watching,
not.
we
It's
get to
not
be the ones
when
that can
the
do this
standard
the
is
right way
used
with
as a
peace.
cudgel.
But
It's
I
not
think,
when it's being used as a cudgel,
Again,
and that's the
that can all
problem.
be, that can
but
all
can't
be,
you turn that around? Can't
Yeah.
you go like, okay, fine, fuck it. We're
We
gonna do
did.
this.
We did. We have the lowest, combatant to civilian casualty
but
rate
who's reporting
of
that too?
any
It's the
fucking
IDF
country
is reporting a
ever.
lot of
I
that. Come
know.
on, not everybody's trustworthy in this. Come
This
on.
is based on their number, a mixture of their confirmed numbers
Again,
and
I get it's yeah. I'm
He-
sorry.
same.
The political
you're gonna take
dimension
the
does
word-
come
you're gonna
into it
take the word
regardless
of
of who
the-
else has
you're
done
gonna
it.
take the
We're
word
not
of a
as bad as
terrorist.
everybody else. It's
Yeah.
a real bad argument. I don't
It's-
know if that's where you want. I don't know if that's the leg you
But
want to stand on.
here's the
Other
flaw
people are even worse.
in Steve's position. Here's the flaw in Steve's position. He's saying that I'm taking the word of the IDF on combatant deaths, but you're taking the word of Hamas
I'm just
on the
I'm not-
total
we're
number
not.
of
No,
deaths.
we're not.
That's what the word
No,
Yeah,
is.
you are.
No, we're not.
We're not taking anyone's word. We're simply saying
No,
that
He-
sounds
Steve
like a race
earlier-
to the bottom.
Steve-
We're talking about
Steve-
terrorism, right?
Steve earlier
Again, it sounds
quoted
like
35,000 casualties.
I didn't. Did we quote a number?
We did not
I
quote a
didn't quote a
cat. I did
number.
not quote a number.
I'm pretty certain that you
I
did.
did not
We can
quote a
check the
number.
transcript, but-
No, I did not.
But regardless, but with or
No.
without the numbers, no, I never quoted a number because I don't believe in numbers either. I mean,
No.
I hate them.
I
They're
think there's a lot of
weird
bullshit.
looking.
There's a lot of bullshit.
They're
out there.
Arabic.
Yeah. I don't live there,
does
so I don't
Arabic
pretend to
have?
know.
Oh.
Arabic numerals.
Oh, that's sorry. Okay, now I got. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what does that have to do with it?
Yeah.
There's creepy fives just looking
Yeah.
at me with their little hats. But yeah, but I'm just saying, like, again, it's hard. It's no, let's not race to the bottom. Let's find ways to.
And I'm saying that I don't feel like that we have. I feel like that we've done the Israeli government has done their
Still
best.
pretty bad. You look at the pictures; it's still really bad, man.
Yeah.
It's still really bad. I know it
It
could be
didn't-
worse, but saying it
Yeah.
could be worse, that's not.
That's not a good
best.
argument.
But
It doesn't
pictures are
help.
manipulative as it is.
I know, but no, I'm going for like I know they can be manipulated, but I know.
I'm not even talking about like in like Photoshop or anything. I'm
No,
talking
I know,
about
I know.
like
You can take what like I do it all the time when I'm at an event and it's mine and it sucks. And you put everybody together and you stand back and you get like a shot and it looks like it's full of people, but it's not because you didn't have the pictures on the side. I know manipulation in terms of not using photo editing, but I also know that I'm 50 something years old. I've seen a lot of videos. I know how things are put together. I know trusted source. I have some sources that are trusted. I don't feel that I am out of into fiction land when I say that there is actually some super horrific stuff going on.
and absolutely there
And
is.
right. So my point
because
is like I
that's the
think you've
nature of
done a
war.
lot. Like when you look at what happened and then you look at this, you know, you've hit them, you hit them back really hard. We're okay. We got that. And if you want to look at preventing Hamas, well, let's look at Netanyahu, who is actually funding them somehow and getting, you know,
That again,
all that kind of crap.
I'll
Like,
remind
not
you.
directly, but you know, it was
I'll
weird.
remind you that number one, part of that was legal money that they were supposed to be receiving, and that's how they had to do it.
Yeah.
Part of that is an attempt at appeasement.
Again, I'm just saying we can't really trust his ability to do that. So I think your best bet here, instead of just continuing to slam, kill, may be to get that guy out, focus on that, focus on a plan, focus on all that shit. And I think we all understand ceasefire with if you have an international force and and it all depends on the Arabs as well. And it's very complicated, and I get it. But in the meantime, if we can all just stop with the let's blow each other up business. Let's support.
Hey, I would love that. I would love that. I would love if Hashem willing, there were no more wars ever anywhere. I would give anything
I know you would.
if October 7th never
I
happened,
know you would.
Mhm.
I know you would. You really.
because I've lost family,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I know you care. I know
and
you
not even direct
deeply about you
family.
care deeply about human beings. You of all people that I know, it will put your money where your mouth is. You put in the time in prison system looking, talking to people. You put in the time in encampments and for the people's sitting out all night and all that stuff. I know very well. And that's why I'll only have these conversations with you, frankly. Like I couldn't have this with anyone else because I don't trust that they are actually as good-hearted
In
and as
good
good
faith.
intended and in good faith as you
Mhm.
are.
And,
So
and
that
that's why I'm not like, even though I disagree with you guys, I'm not mad at you.
thank you.
No,
I
no, no, no.
appreciate that. And I
You know,
hope
and I don't think
I
that you're coming from a bad
I
place.
try not to.
And there are other people that I wish I could have this conversation with, and I've offered to have this conversation with,
Yeah.
and they just never got back to me for whatever
Yeah.
reason. You know,
Yeah. And it gets heated, but again, yeah, no,
you're
there's,
right. It does get heated.
yeah, but again, I
We
don't want you,
love
I don't want
believing
you to
you.
think that as somehow I'm making, that this is
No.
becoming a personal thing. It's
No,
not.
no, we
It's just a
believe in
difficult
you.
conversation to have.
It
Yeah.
is, and that's okay, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I encourage difficult conversations. We may not, always see eye to eye, and I hope we don't.
I hope, right.
Mhm.
I hope
Because
that we can keep doing this. And little by
I would
little.
love to have this sort of heated but civil, well, as civil as I can
This can
be.
be, right? Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not a
Oh,
very civil person.
yeah.
But we have a civil conversation, and we both respect each other,
Yeah.
and I think these sort of conversations are very important, and I wish that I could be having these sort of conversations with people at these encampments.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to see anyone die. I don't want to see one civilian die.
Yeah.
I know.
But I also understand that this is a fight for our lives.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you're right about that. You absolutely are. So I
And we as Jews have been forced to depend on Western mercy and Western goodness.
oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
No, but I know what you mean.
Heavy
There's been a
quotation marks.
Yeah. Like for over 1,000 years, and we've never gotten what we should have from the West. We've and not even just the West. And again, I don't want to put the entire onus of the way the world looks at Jews and the way Jews have been treated throughout history on the West, because Arab countries have done the same thing. They constantly talk about how good we had it under. We did not have it good under Arabs. We were second-class citizens when times were the best. Oftentimes, there were pogroms, expulsions, same bullshit that the West did.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that grinds my gears the most, is the historical revisionism of the moment,
Mhm.
on so many fronts, on our indigenousness, on our treatment, on whether we're colonists, on who's at fault for the way things are.
Mhm. Yeah,
There's
it's
it,
tangled even here. I mean, I was just starting to read a book called The Rediscovery of America by a guy named Ned Blackhawk, and just him going back and trying to understand the web of difficulties with the colonists and the empires, the French versus the British, and all this kind of stuff. So it's such a tangle even in our own backyard, here in America, that, it's just going back even thousands of years, like you're saying in the Middle East. Now you're introducing levels of complexity.
but and that is true, but the archaeological and historical evidence, it's there
Mhm.
for anybody to see and read. And like, just the other day, they found a new scroll, um dated from like 500 CE, which is the half. you know, long before the Arabs ever
Oh,
came
yeah,
out
I'm
of
not,
Arabia.
yeah. I'm not talking physically being present in a space. I mean socially, culturally, the currents that kind of come together in that entire region. I guess that's my point, is that there's a lot of levels to that, you know.
And there are, but
Yeah.
here's one thing that I could say about that aspect. Jews have been a presence in the land the entire time.
Mhm.
The entire time. At the same time,
You were there
like
before you were Jews.
at the same time, like other places
Mhm.
in the Middle East, such as, Iraq and Iran, Babylon,
Mhm.
like Jews had been in there for thousands of years as well.
Mhm. Yep.
We're not asking to go back to Babylon,
Mhm.
you know. We want to be in our homeland.
Mhm.
We existed there. We lived there. At various points, we might have even been a large plurality
Mhm.
in those places. But we're not asking to go back there. We don't want to go back there. It'd be nice if we were allowed there, like to visit, because I'd love to visit, the Jewish communities in Iraq and Iran. I think that'd be really cool.
You can't go.
No, absolutely not.
Didn't know that.
Not as a Jew.
But you can go as an American.
Maybe if I hide the fact that I'm Jewish and like
I know
I don't
you
know,
can go as a Jewish person. That's wild. They have like travel bans against Jewish people.
all over the Middle East.
That's wild.
There's only like a handful of countries where we're allowed to go.
Really? That's interesting.
I think Saudi Arabia has recently become one of them. Before that, I think it was the UAE, and maybe that was it.
That's wild.
And we had communities in all of those places, in Yemen, in Syria, in Iraq, in Iran. Uh, Matter of fact, there's a guy, I don't know if he was released or not, but I know that he was going to be killed because he was Jewish in Iran recently. I don't know if they ever released him or not.
Interesting.
There was a whole movement to try to save his life.
That's wild. Oh, but you can visit. Any Jewish person can travel to Iran, but only if you are not born in Israel.
Okay.
It's just Israel Jews.
Which
Apparently.
sounds a little, yeah.
That's nice.
Uh,
Handy.
But irregardless, like if I did
You
go
don't
there,
want
I
to
wouldn't
go
be
if they're not welcome.
safe.
That's
no,
horrible.
no. You feel
not.
like hell. Yeah.
It's not. They're
Yeah.
getting your money for tourism. They're that attitude. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I don't, it was an island nation that had previously, it was largely Muslim, but previously they had got a lot of Jewish tourism money, and recently, to their own economic detriment, I assume, just banned all Jews.
That's
Like,
insane.
Yes.
And all non-Muslims are banned from Mecca. Non-Muslims religious observance, anything non-Muslim, any religious observant out is not allowed in Saudi Arabia.
you can still go, you just can't like,
I can't like hold mass.
yeah, or
Yeah.
yeah.
Or pray. If they knew what I was saying in my head, I'd be like obsessive about praying, and I don't even pray because I'm not even religious at all. But I just be like,
But
"Oh,
even
watch
even
this.
even then, like you as a woman
Oh yeah, I'd be under
couldn't
Get
a.
your
like
burqa.
They're not even gonna see me. I'm just gonna be a big black blob.
that's not quite accurate. I mean, you just have to have your head covered like
Oh, yeah.
entirely, but not like necessarily this part.
I'm would do it if that was an option, though. I mean, why if you're gonna cover up, I would like to be covered
You could wear one
entirely.
of those sport burkas.
I would like put my eyes down here or something, make it look like I had a giant head. What? Have fun with it.
I think we've
Why not?
gone over.
And now
we've
here we
gone
are.
extra time, as they say in soccer.
Play us out.
Oh yeah, we've
Yeah,
I think we've
fun.
gone
I
way.
might have some fun to
Yeah, I
talk.
think we overcompensated for last week.
Yeah, but this was fun.
Yes, and I think
I'm gonna shut off YouTube
Yeah.
for now.
Yep. Two states,